made this? Where'd you get this shrimp cocktail? It's so good. I've never had snappier shrimp cocktail, ever. Stick with us, Aunt Susan.
Today we're in the test kitchen making our go-to appetizers.
It's just the perfect little entry point to the evening.
Everyone's over and we're drinking and there's snacky stuff out on the table. Honestly, I could make an entire meal of those.
Today we're gonna show you my favorite way to make shrimp cocktail. You know when you get a good shrimp cocktail and it like snaps and it's plumpy and it's poppy and it's just good, you know? Like you bite it, it's like a baseball bat. So we're gonna peel these, but leave that little bit of that tail on there, that top little half-inch part of the shell. So I like to just kind of peel it around there, and then the rest kind of just slips off. And again, you want to save those shells, as that's gonna be the base for our poaching liquid, our shrimp stock court bouillon. That's what we're looking for. Jumbo, baby, nice. I always tell people, if you're gonna make something like shrimp cocktail, just get the best shrimp that you have access to or can afford. We got salt, the baking soda, and massage the shrimp with them, let them sit for a half an hour. The end result will leave you with a shrimp texture after you poach it that is firm and snappy and plump. All right, for our poaching liquid, AKA poaching liquid, 2 quarts of water, 400 milliliters of white wine, fresh ginger root, lemongrass, one of my favorites. We got lemon, tarragon, a little parsley, couple shallots, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, put them right in, okay? Fresh bay leaves, not dry, fresh. A little bit of celery seed, 4 cloves of garlic, crushed celery, and then a Granny Smith apple. Shrimp shells, just a quick steep. That's all you really need with those shrimp shells. I mean, they're paper thin, but there's a lot of flavor in there, a lot of nutrients, and that's all gonna come out into that liquid rather quickly, so home run. We're just gonna do this for about 20, 30 minutes. Now it smells like shrimp stock. You can kind of individually smell a lot of the different ingredients, from the lemon to the herbs. The apple adds a nice little sour sweetness to it. Extra layers of care and flavor are gonna translate into the end product and leave your guests wowed. All right, so we strained it off. It wasn't boiling, but it was probably, 190, 200 degrees. Too hot for what we're trying to poach these in. So I put this into the fridge and we brought it down to about 90 degrees. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our shrimp, put it on a medium heat, bring them up to 170, no more. Every now and then, just a little gentle agitation. Let that water move around. Just want that heat to be nice and even. I personally don't know an easier indicator or marker that it's done where you want it to be, other than temping the liquid. Oh God, 170, we're moving. Right into the bag. I know it might seem like, Brad, what are you doing? Putting hot shrimp in a bag, buddy. I'm gonna show you. That's it. And we're moving right into the ice water. And the reason we're doing it in the bag was to not wash off all that effort that we did. Why wash it all off? While they're chilling out in the bag, let's make a little shrimp cocktail sauce, all right? Mary Frances Heck, she turned me on to the chili sauce in shrimp cocktail. And it is game changer. It's the best way to do it. I love it. Ketchup, lemon juice, a little bit, just like that. Pink peppercorn, my favorite. Fruity, aromatic, spicy, horseradish, which I am fine with. If you got fresh and you want to grate it, knock yourself out. I have no problem with it prepared. That looks great. Oh, black pepper, just for fun. That's it, man, that is it. God. No one wants a wet shrimp on the platter, on the plate, all right? It should be nice. What it shouldn't do is look like that, where it's just hammered, okay? Overcooked, curled up, turned into seafood rubber. Not what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. You could do all this little silly platter stuff, get it all ready a couple hours before. Throw a little plastic wrap over it, and you're good to go, bud. Boom. Right in there. Come on, shrimp cocktail, baby. Plump, it's firm, snappy, things coated and saturated, cooked in its own stock. It's wonderful. Pink peppercorn adds a nice little sweetness to it. A chili sauce, you can't beat it. Shrimp cocktail, made from scratch. Takes a little more time, but it's worth it. You're worth it. Your guests are worth it. The shrimp are worth it. Bon appetit.
Today we are making salami and goat cheese stuffed dates. I think especially if you're entertaining, an appetizer should be low lift. I love dates because they are nature's gummy candy. They are only made better with the addition of meat and cheese. So what I'm doing right now is pitting the dates and slice in, not all the way through. So I just like to keep them in their sort of little Pac-Man-y shape. You could buy dates that are pitted. If you like, I like pitting them myself just because it's like a nice little meditative practice. Now what we're gonna do is chop up our salami. What you wanna get is like the prepackaged sliced salami. You really just wanna cut them really, really tiny pieces because what's gonna happen is when you fold them into the cheese, they kind of meld together in a way that's really delightful. This is calabrese salami, which is spicy. Having a little bit of heat in there is great. If you don't use spicy salami and you wanna add a pinch of red pepper flakes, or something like that, you could definitely do it. If you don't use meat at all and you wanna put a little bit of chili oil or chili crisp. Okay, so now we're gonna add a little bit of cheese, and you're kind of looking for like a 1-to-1 ratio here. You want it to be pretty heavily both. This is goat cheese. You could use any sort of like soft, malleable cheese. Something that's key here is you want your cheese to be room temperature because if it's cold, it will be hard and it won't want to mix up. Something else that we're gonna add is a little bit of black pepper. Depending on how peppery your salami is, you might wanna add more or less of that. And then I'm also gonna add just a little bit of lemon zest to help brighten it up, make it feel a little fresh. And now we're gonna stuff our dates. Take a little spoon, take your guy, and I like to not completely overstuff them because the dates are the main character. So I don't want there to be like so much of the filling, just enough to fill that crevice. If you have leftover filling and people eat all the dates, but they're still interested in noshing for more, just throw some Triscuits out and people can like spread and eat, and then that's a delight as well. We're gonna finish up our plate by doing a little bit of a rough chop on these toasted pistachios. You always wanna toast your nuts. It just brings out the flavor a little bit. It's about aesthetics, it's about adding this green pop of color and also about flavor and texture. I'm just gonna do a little tiny drizzle of honey. You're basically creating glue for the pistachios to stick to. And again, I like getting the like more powdery, finer bits, which you can see like kind of at the bottom here. I like to scoop those up and make sure that they get their dusting because I think that's very pretty. And then the bigger pieces can come in at the end. So these are our salami and goat cheese stuffed dates with pistachio and honey. The delight in them is that they are a one-biter. They're a pretty full one-biter, but they're so good. There's just the right amount of filling. Cheesy, salty, a little spice, a little heat, a little richness, meatiness, and the crunch from the pistachio. I love them. These are big party energy.
Today, I'll be making a version of a furikake Chex mix that is just so addictive. It's a little sweet, it's a little salty, umami packed. I really love an old fashioned. It's a classic cocktail, and I think you can really stand up to a lot of the powerful flavors here. Today, I'd love to make a riff using Remy Martin XO cognac. First things first, we're gonna make our syrup. It's our binder. We're adding a neutral oil, light corn syrup, sugar, butter, soy sauce. The ranch seasoning packet adds an addictive quality to anything it touches. You just want everything to dissolve. We're not looking to boil this. We just want to make a homogeneous mixture, a nice kind of caramel color. Just let it cool for like a minute and then let's get going on our ingredients. This is such a fun part of the recipe. Just going for the bugles. Pretzels, again, just eyeball it, perfect. Honeycomb cereal, also delicious here. Cheddar goldfish, dry roasted peanuts. This is like the perfect dry mix for me. So we're gonna hand mix, be very gentle. Pour this syrup in 2 batches. I'm gonna sprinkle on the furikake here. This one has sesame seeds, nori seaweed, sugar, salt, and some MSG, which really helps to bump up the flavor profile all around. And then add the rest. You do want to work quickly. Check the bottom of the bowl, make sure nothing is pooling down there. The furikake is so good at getting in the nooks and crannies of the rice and corn cereals. I would divide this amount into 2 pans. You want it flat, but it doesn't have to be a single layer per se. So these are ready to go in your oven. It's set at 250, which is very low, I know, but this is a low and slow operation. Don't try to rush it. Now it's time for our cocktail. So an old-fashioned cocktail uses Scotch whiskey. I thought it would be really nice to riff on that using cognac. This is really bold in its flavor. That's really bold in its flavor, but somehow they really work well together. So we have these really cute brown sugar cubes, and we're going to just douse them with aromatic bitters. I'm gonna use the classic Angostura as well as a whiskey barrel aged one. So you need the sugar to be dissolved. The essential oils and the orange peel work so well in complementing the bitters, the cognac, the sugar, really just tying everything together. This smells like a party. You get some honey notes, some spice notes, floral notes. So smooth, really complex. It's giving me cloves and spices, and our commitment to the citrus and the orange is so complementary. I can't wait to try it with my Chex Mix. You're looking for some kind of clumpy, clustery bits. Like, look at this. This is gonna be for me. It's so addictive. If the camera wasn't on me, I would just like dive in. This snack really works so well with this riff on an old fashioned. It's got citrus, there's spice, there's just a lot going on, but this drink can definitely handle all the complexities and tastiness involved in this snack.
Today my appetizer is an antipasto skewer. This was actually one of the first recipes I ever developed for BA. There's just something about this combination that's very simple but delivers big on flavor, and I think the visual appeal is really strong too. We have the ribeye. I got a cast iron skillet here. I'm gonna do kosher salt, really generous on the seasoning, and also a ton of black pepper. Personally, I love a lot of black pepper on my steak. I think it adds a ton and gives a solid base flavor that pairs really well with the cheese too. Neutral oil, you wanna hear it sizzle like that. Beautiful. I'm gonna just press down a little bit so I make sure everything's getting some contact with the cast iron. Then I'm gonna let it go for like 3 minutes, and then we'll flip it and do another 3 minutes. So when you leave it undisturbed, you get like a really gorgeous sear. You can see all of this part of the steak had really strong contact with the cast iron. The meat has been resting for 15 minutes. All of the fat is gonna be contained. It's gonna be nice and juicy. You wanna cut against the grain into nice, like thin strips. It's really beautifully cooked. It's a nice medium rare. If you're gonna have steak in one bite, you wanna make sure that your meat is pretty thin. So for the cheese, I went with Comté today, which is one of my favorites. You could also use like pepper jack, cheddar, parm, whatever you like. And then for peppers, we did the sweet pickled cherry peppers and some pepperoncini too. Again, use whatever pickly, briny thing you like. Just make sure whatever's going between this steak is salty, ideally a little bit crunchy and a little spicy too. So I'm gonna start with this one. Thread the skewer through sort of the right edge of the piece of steak. And then I'm gonna go in with a cube of cheese and then a little piece of pepper. And then pull the other edge through to secure it. And that's one way you can do it, very simple. The second way, you wanna find a nice long piece. You got some cheese and some pepper, and you're just gonna roll it up, and then it's like a little bundle, and the entire thing is encased. Now I'm gonna finish them with some olive oil, flaky salt, and black pepper. This just makes everything look nice and pretty. Also gives something for the salt and the pepper to stick onto. And just in case you didn't season the steak well enough, you have another opportunity. It's so cute. Okay, there you go. These are my peppery antipasto skewers. It's the perfect bite because you get a ton of acidity from the pickled pepper, creamy, mild saltiness from this cheese, and then the steak just sort of pulls everything together, makes it feel substantial, just like a solid bite. It's super flavorful, very convenient, and really easy too.
When I think appetizers, my mind automatically goes fried. There's just something so enticing and something so great about starting a meal with something fried. The thing I love most about fried potato poppers is sort of just like the textural element you get. What we have here is we have some day-old mashed potatoes. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my chives. So these mashed potatoes actually have garlic and thyme. I feel like those are two really simple ways to elevate your mashed potato. Then I'm gonna add this already cooked bacon. I have it really finely chopped. So I'm gonna, with my hand, sort of like move my mashed potatoes from the bottom to the top, just to ensure that everything is fully mixed. Anyway, I flip it, look at it, I should be able to see bacon and I should be able to see chive. I'm gonna take a small amount of my potato mixture in my hand. I'm sort of just going to roll it in some of my egg mixture. I only use Japanese panko. I think that that texture is unmatched. Just want to make sure that it's completely covered. Poppers are a great pantry cleaner. I think that you could really fill this with whatever you have lying around. I'm gonna drop them into the deep fryer at 375 for about 3 to 5 minutes, or until like they're fully golden browned and crispy. The sound of frying food is music to my ears. It's looking very beautiful. Just shaking off any excess oil before I get them on my sheet tray. I'm just gonna hit them with just a pinch of salt. Everything inside is already pretty well seasoned. This is just to ensure that our panko is getting some of that flavor. They're not gonna be piping hot. Our panko is also acting as some sort of barrier. So the stuff on the inside is going to be cooked and warm, but it's not gonna be like singeing your mouth. I have a little bit of chives here that I'm gonna sort of like sprinkle on them just for another fresh bite. These are my fried potato poppers. They're golden, they're delicious, they're super simple, and a great way to turn your leftovers into something completely different. It's delicious. This is almost giving me loaded potato naturally, but almost like French fries too. It is truly the perfect one bite experience.
There we go. That's the stuff. Right into the sink. Start over.